I'm Joel Fairbrother, an employment lawyer at Bow River Law in Calgary, Alberta. And today I'm going to be answering the question, what is the difference between wrongful dismissal and constructive dismissal? Wrongful dismissal is in Alberta and Canada, that's the word for when an employer terminates your employment without giving you sufficient notice of termination. Notice of termination really is, think of it as a period of time, but it's the word that replaces what is commonly said is severance. So when people say I didn't get enough severance, what they really mean in Alberta or in Canada would be I didn't get enough reasonable notice. So think of it like this. If you're entitled, a court says you're entitled to 6 months of severance, what they really mean in Canada is you're entitled to 6 months notice that your job was going to be terminated. So they say, Bob, it's October 1st. You're going to continue being employed here for the next 6 months, and then your employment will end. That's notice of termination. Now, in practice, that usually doesn't happen. Usually what we say is that employers are going to give pay in lieu of notice. So they say, well, if we would have given you notice, it would have been 6 months, but instead we're going to just terminate you now, and we'll give you 6 months pay in lieu of that notice instead of that notice. So that's wrongful dismissal. Employer terminates your employment, and they give you notice. Constructive dismissal is a little bit different. Constructive dismissal is where your employer has breached your employment terms in some way, your express or implied terms of your employment contract. And it's substantial enough or significant enough that you are able to quit or resign your position and sue your employer as if you had been terminated. So the courts are building a termination or constructing a termination. Even though it isn't really a termination, they say it's a termination. That's why we say it's constructive dismissal. So the difference is only in the mechanism of how it comes to be. With a wrongful dismissal, the employer terminates. With a constructive dismissal, the employer breaches and the employee resigns. So the mechanism is different. The remedy, in terms of what you're entitled to, is the same. So either way, you're entitled to reasonable notice or severance, whether you're wrongfully dismissed or constructively dismissed. Again, I'm Joel Fairbrother, an employment lawyer at Bow River Law in Calgary, Alberta.